Most people think they need to fix their anxiety, understand it, control it, get rid of it. But what if the reason it feels so persistent is because of how hard you're trying to fix it? And what if anxiety doesn't improve when you solve it, but when you stop interfering with it? Because later in this video, I'm going to show you something subtle that quietly keeps anxiety going, even when your life looks completely fine on the outside. When anxiety shows up, your brain goes into problem-solving mode. What's wrong? Why do I feel like this? How do I stop it? And that makes sense, because anxiety feels like a problem. But here's what most people don't realize. The search for a solution is often what keeps anxiety alive. Think about it. The more attention you give something, the more real it feels, the more important it becomes. So when you constantly check in with your anxiety, is it still there? Has it gone yet? Why do I still feel off? You're unintentionally telling your brain, this matters, keep monitoring it. Anxiety isn't always a signal that something is wrong. Sometimes it's just your nervous system being slightly overstimulated. That's it. No big meaning, no hidden issue, just a system that hasn't settled yet. But when you treat that feeling like a problem, you keep activating the system. You stay in your head. You stay alert. You stay on. And anxiety needs that state to survive. Not because something is wrong, but because nothing is being allowed to settle. Here's the shift that changes everything. Anxiety often improves when you stop trying to make it improve. Not by ignoring it, not by suppressing it, but by removing the pressure around it. Instead of, I need to feel better, it becomes, I can feel like this and still carry on. And something subtle happens when you do that. Your brain stops tracking it as a threat. It stops checking. It stops analysing. And slowly, without you forcing it, the intensity starts to drop. You've probably experienced this without realising. A moment where you were anxious earlier, but then you got distracted. You were talking to someone, watching something, focused on something else. And later you realised, oh, I actually feel a bit better. You didn't solve it. You didn't fix it. You just stopped feeding it. The reason this is difficult is because it feels counterintuitive. Your brain says, if I don't fix this, it'll stay forever. But the opposite is often true. Trying to fix it is what keeps it around longer. It's like trying to smooth water with your hands. The more you interfere, the more you disturb it. And this is where a lot of people get stuck. Because on the surface, life looks fine. You're functioning. You're doing what you need to do. But underneath, there's this low-level unease, a background tension. Something just feels off, and you can't quite explain why. So you start analysing, trying to figure it out, trying to fix something you can't fully see. And that loop keeps the feeling going. This is something I talk about more deeply in my book, When Drinking Feels Like Coping. That quiet space where nothing is obviously wrong, but something doesn't feel right either. The real shift isn't how do I get rid of anxiety? It's what happens if I stop treating this like something that needs to be fixed? You still feel it, but you stop building your day around it. You stop measuring it. You stop negotiating with it. And over time, your nervous system recalibrates, not because you forced it to, but because you stop keeping it activated. Less interference, more settling. But there's another layer to this that most people completely miss. Because sometimes the reason anxiety feels so persistent isn't just how you think about it, it's how you're using something to manage it. And this is where alcohol becomes incredibly relevant. Because for a lot of people, drinking isn't really about enjoyment, it's about regulation, switching off, taking the edge off, changing how you feel. But what that actually does to your emotional system isn't what most people think. And once you see this, you start to understand why anxiety keeps coming back, even when you're trying to feel better. In the next video, we're going to break this down, alcohol and emotional regulation, because this is where the cycle becomes clear.